Coming to you here from James A. Anderson Gymnasium, and I am with the PA announcer for the Ashland Tomcats, Chuck Rist. And Chuck, it's so good to have you here.
Tyler, I'm accustomed to giving dramatic presentations, but I don't usually get one. So, thank you.
Yeah. You got some good ones there for sure. And let's talk a little bit about your career first off at PA announcer, because I've seen you a lot, not just here but elsewhere. And talk about how you got started in that, where the interest developed.
I go back to when there was a Catlettsburg independent school system, and I graduated Catlettsburg High School in 1971. Wasn't an athlete, but I was involved in sports and this in a time before cell phones, before even personal calculators. I kept statistics on paper and then compiled them and did spreadsheets before there was a Microsoft Excel. Just kind of generated the printouts to the coaches and to the media. I worked with I was kind of a stringer for the Ashland newspaper for a while. And kind of turned that into a way into college. I graduated Catlettsburg High School in 1971. And for those, you're too young, but for those of my generation, put the numbers together, and that was right after the Marshall plane crash in 1970. Many years later, when We Are Marshall, the movie came out, I relived a lot of that because first game I ever worked on the statistics crew for Marshall University, Eric win over Xavier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's history there. So I worked with Marshall, not just in sports information and statistics, but I also did public address for the junior varsity. Well, take it back. It's actually a freshman team back in those days at the old Memorial Fieldhouse. Back in the late 80s, I had two cousins who played soccer for Ashland, Stu and Neil Smith, and would sit in the stadium. Actually, we were playing soccer at that time at Putnam Stadium, and I would be at the games, and one time the regular public address announcer didn't show up. And Mrs. Ledford, our longtime principal here at Ashland, called down to my cousin, the boy's father, of Mr. Smith, would you come up here and do this? He's like, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't know anything about soccer, but I'll just tell me about the game. So that was the start of my affiliation really with Ashland. I have people that I went to high school with in Catlettsburg that have told me, I can't believe you do this for the Tomcats. And my school is gone. So it's, and soccer turned into basketball. It pretty much wraps up my 34th year of doing Ashland.
Neat resume. And how did Moorhead start for you?
Actually, as an outgrowth of working games at Ashland. Keith Capus, who was the sports information director for many years and a vice president at MSU, had actually recruited me out of high school to come to Moorhead. And I was planning to do that, and then all of a sudden the Marshall scholarship and connection came in, and so I stepped away. But Keith knew me, and I think he had sons who played for Rowan County, and all of a sudden out of nowhere in, I guess, 2000, he contacted me, would you like to do the regional tournament? And I did that. Well, I continue to do that. I think I was 4 or 5 years into that job, and someone with the university said, we're going to need a public address announcer. Would you like to audition? and I don't know whether it was by ego or by blind bluff, but I just said, I'm not interested in auditioning, but you've got my number if you want. Okay, we'll hire you. So sometimes you just luck into things.
Yeah. And I know you got a lot of natural talent at it, but if somebody was wanting to go into that field, what advice would you give them?
You just got to have a lot of enthusiasm, and you got to know the right situation. I always say that I've got my Ashland and MSU enthusiasm, that you know whose side I'm on from the shirt that I'm wearing and from the call that you're hearing over the public address system. However, when we get to where I'm doing the 16th region tournament, that's, I hope, totally even. And if anything, Ashland and Tomcats and Kittens get less of an enthusiastic call than anybody else making good play in the region tournament.
What would be one of your favorite memories or just because I know there's probably a lot of one that comes to mind as a PA announcer for Ashland?
I remember an AIT long ago. We could go back and look up the year, but Tyler Berger hit a last second shot. You know, with the Villers brothers and Colin and rolling on to Xander, really had some great highlights.
Chuck, for the base to get to know you better, what's maybe a cool fact about yourself? Maybe something not a lot of people know.
I have ridden Harley Davidson motorcycles. Pretty much stepped away from that now. Probably a lot of people know that I own a travel agency in Ashland, Tri-State Travel, and that's going on 48 years, I think, now. And I'll maybe reveal a little quick story of myself that one time when I was keeping the scorebook for Catlettsburg High School in a game at the old Boyd County gym, long before the middle school, but out at Cannonsburg. And I was rather self-important, and I'm like a junior in high school, and I'm carrying a briefcase. And in my briefcase were copies of the rule books. And we had a situation where Boyd County had entered a number incorrectly in the scorebook, and the referee comes over and says, "Oh, just change it." No, that's supposed to be a technical foul for Catlettsburg. Nah, we just. So then the next time down court, I got the referee, held up the rule book. I said, "Have you ever seen one of these?" So, scorekeeper got a technical.
Oh, wow.
So, never again. But, yeah, that's a story out of the deep and dark past.
That's neat. Yeah, don't see that often. And the last question for you, Chuck. It's been a joy having you on. We'll look right in the camera for this one. Any shout outs you'd like to give?
Thanks, Tyler. To all Tomcats, athletes, and coaches, and all the fans over the years that I've been honored to know and speak to. My shout out to you all, to my family. My cousin Jessica and Gracie now are at my side working with the video board. And to my fiance, Catherine. Shout out there.
Awesome. Chuck, thank you so much for coming on. And I want to say thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to stay tuned. We'll have more interviews here. I'm Tyler Rowland. Thank you all for watching. God bless. See you soon.